Greetings all. Welcome to Aquarian Diary. I'm your host, John Irving. It is July 12th, 2024. The following was originally recorded on July 7th. For some reason, I just didn't feel like publishing it until today, July 12th. This is a topic that has been on my to-do list for an incredibly long time. And for some reason, it's been up again for me. And that is, of course, the relationship between spirituality and politics. This is actually a really important topic, hence why it's been on my list of things to talk about for a really long time. This first came up in the very early days of my channel, where someone was very critical of me for mixing spirituality and politics. At that time, I was a bit taken aback because I just assumed that the relationship was clear. But apparently it isn't to everyone. So I thought I would discuss it a little bit and share my perspective on this matter in case it's useful or instructive for other people. It's something I've thought a lot about for a very long time. Spirituality, for the vast majority of people, for the past few thousand years at least, has been expressed largely through the form of religion. And I would argue that religion is extremely political. Anybody living in the United States right now, for example, is very keenly aware of that. But it's also true for the Catholic Church and the Muslim religion. Buddhists have been very active in many regards and have played activist roles in many situations for a very long time. And also, obviously, many spiritual and religious groups are very involved in their communities, often helping with people who are in need or dealing with various crises. So that's just par for the course as well. And of course, the whole story of Christ and Christians being persecuted by the Romans is extremely political. So it seems to me it would be almost impossible to argue that religion isn't political. But what about the form of spirituality that many of us are interested in and engaged in, which is more of an independent kind of approach to the topic and involves practices like meditation and things like that? Well, again, Buddhists, for example, engage in those kinds of practices, and on a variety of topics, they're quite political. As spiritual beings, we are compassionate and have empathy for everything that we encounter in our environment, be it people, animals, nature, or whatever. We can't help but empathize with their existence, especially those of us who are older souls, because we have been through the ringer and faced many forms of persecution and injustice, and lived through wars and conflict and political and social upheaval, invasions, and having our properties raided and so forth for millennia. We know what it feels like to be victimized by institutions, movements, organizations, armies, and so forth. It's just logical, right? So it's very natural for us as spiritual beings who are very empathic, if not psychic, to care about other beings. I certainly do. I mean, it's constant in my life. I would like to eliminate all suffering if I could. Who wouldn't? So I suspect that some people who are critical of spiritual people talking about or being concerned about politics are actually motivated by something else. Ulterior motives are involved, in other words. Perhaps they subscribe to a political philosophy or ideology that conflicts with, say, for example, mine, and they just don't want to admit it. So they'll attack the messenger. Who knows what really motivates people, and some people are just trolls. They just want to stir up trouble and getting them all worked up about a topic, and they enjoy that. I don't tend to let that happen. I'm not opposed to other people having different worldviews or philosophies. But generally, I think that those of us on the spiritual path have a sense of responsibility, or at the very least, stewardship for this world, for humanity, for the planet, for nature and the natural realms, which in many ways are being ravaged right now by our paradigm and those who promote or endorse it. And so, yes, we would like to improve things. That's just a natural, healthy response to our world. We care. Anybody who's connected to their heart chakra, or whose heart chakra is even a little bit open, will understand compassion and empathy for all beings, regardless of race or creed or ethnicity or gender or whatever. Furthermore, anyone with even a rudimentary understanding of history or how governments work or democracies or autocracies work or don't will understand that politics has an extremely profound influence on our day-to-day lives for everyone on the planet. This is a fact, and it is irrefutable. To suggest otherwise demonstrates an incredible level of ignorance or lack of knowledge, or it's simply a denial of reality. So this topic, to me, is extremely simple and clear-cut, but it's not to everyone. That's not to suggest that we have to engage politically like in our spiritual practice. Our spiritual practice is between us and the divine. But in the outer world, like I said, I think it's just normal and healthy for us to be concerned about our fellow human beings and other creatures that inhabit this miraculously beautiful planet, and we'd like to preserve it and to keep it healthy for ourselves, for our loved ones, and for future generations. I mean, who doesn't? So we can't just let people who accumulate power or wealth or influence call the shots, because usually, but not always, they're not the best people to be dictating outcomes for billions of people. Often these people are just motivated by materialism and greed or hoarding wealth or power, and their agendas often conflict with most people's. So we have to be engaged, and we can't let that happen. I mean, history is loaded with examples of how things can get out of control and take us collectively down some very, very dark paths. Think the 1930s and early 1940s, for example. Let's hope we never repeat that. Furthermore, humanity now has the capability and the technology to destroy this planet, or at least its biosphere, many times over. So the situation is quite precarious, and so we should care not just for ourselves, but for everyone and everything. To be completely frank, I don't really get how somebody who claims that they are spiritual cannot be concerned about these kinds of things. It seems like we have a duty and responsibility to each other and to this planet to care and to be engaged and at least somewhat informed. It is an abdication of our duty otherwise, and I don't personally understand how anyone can reconcile separating the two. I think reasonably, anyone who has a bit of compassion or empathy can understand why this matters. It's not really even debatable. But I have seen this question arise on numerous occasions, and like I said, it surprises me, so I thought I should address this. If you have any thoughts or additional comments to make on this topic, please add them in the comments. There's a lot of weird things going on with this platform these days, and many people are complaining about it, so it seems like if you want to get any visibility here at all, you need comments, you need likes, and that kind of thing. Otherwise, we languish in obscurity. And this takes time and effort on my part to do this, and I do it because I care. And sometimes I feel like I'm able to express things in a way that helps other people clarify their thinking or experience or their understanding, and I'm very happy to do that. It means a lot to me, and I get some really fantastic comments from people which make my day. For more detail, check the episode description for other episodes or articles that are related or that I mentioned. And if you're interested in a reading with me, I'll put a link to that as well. I have a 15% off special on currently. Many sincere thanks to everyone who supports me, especially my YouTube members. Thank you very much. Take care, all the best, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.